after I got grown and left home, I really wanted to garden. And my son had a farm, and I grew a lot of vegetables out there. So I made a lot of money. And I sold my tomatoes, green beans, and cabbage. Well, the rabbits ate my cabbage. They love the cabbage. So I didn't have no luck with my cabbage, but such thing as lima beans.
What was your first garden memory?
I remember is that my parents always had a small garden when I was growing up, and particularly my father was the one that usually planted the garden, and we would always have things like green beans growing up. I learned that beans grew up on a vine, and we had tomatoes, and we had carrots, and sometimes we had cucumbers and yellow squash. So we grew a lot of those kinds of things, in our own backyard, because the house that I lived in when I was quite young, we had quite a large backyard, and we had grass and flowers in one section, but the section back toward the back fence and the back area facing the alley, that was often a garden. So that was my first experience as a child.
Okay.
Gardening for maybe 20 years. I like it. I find it very relaxing, and I just basically garden for myself. And whatever I harvest, I just put it in my freezer, and so we can eat it all.
Or your first garden?
Well, I don't have a house. I'm in an apartment, so that's one of the reasons why I joined the Hannah House, because I wanted to get in their gardening class and see what do you do to consist of making a garden and keep it growing. So last year was my first time, and I had fun helping to get the cabbage to come up. We grew onions, collards, cucumbers, tomatoes, 3 different kinds of tomatoes, and then we weigh them, and we all get to take a little bit home. We share them. In our backyard when I was a little girl, and my parents made it, and it had fish in it, goldfish.
Did it show your images?
Okay, this is the pond I was talking about. See the water coming out. Now this is from when I was a little girl. And on each side of the pond there was a rock garden. And one of the rock gardens had steps that went up to a house. And it had little animals along the way and all kinds of flowers. It was really beautiful. And people would come to our house to have their wedding pictures taken in our backyard. And they'd like to come there. I have another picture. No, I don't have it. And then this is another picture of the backyard, and that apple tree there had my swing on it when I was a little girl. And underneath there was a sandbox where I could play in the sand, and it was a wonderful place to have my friends come over to play. And it had